Hey, everybody, it's Chris Garrison over here at the Bigger Vision Show, and I have got a special guest on the phone with me right now. Didn't want to miss our live appointment on our Facebook page, so just bear with us as we get through some difficulties. We're trying to get Kevin logged on. All right, folks, I appreciate y'all bearing with us. We're gonna get Kevin on here soon. Kind of give you a little bit of an introduction. This guy is just a rock star business owner. He has been able to start a business up and put it in multiple states. Yeah, there you go. All right.
I didn't enter the studio. Sorry.
There he is. All right.
I apologize.
I don't hear you though. I don't hear
Okay.
you, Kevin. Are you unmuted? Say something.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Go into your settings and check you're not showing muted, but I can't hear anything from you. Audience, if somebody can let us know if you guys hear, that would be helpful. Should see a bar down at the bottom that says settings, and you can click it.
And then I go
see
on
what your
audio.
audio is showing.
All right, can you hear me now?
Isn't this just the entrepreneur style, though? I mean, not everything always goes perfect. So you sit there and you just make do with what you got. One of the biggest characteristics I've seen in successful business owners is they don't panic. So they try to get it figured out. I still can't get you, Kevin, on voice. Kevin is probably trying to log back on and see if we can do better a second go round. So it's been a crazy week for me while we're waiting for Kevin to get back on. I had a closing set up for today, and that got delayed because closing on real estate because we just couldn't. We had some things that we had to edit. Earlier this week, I had some issues with some tenants, and I had to take care of those. So life's not perfect, but the thing about with life is you just keep pushing towards the goals and the vision that you're trying to hit. And through the ups, the valleys, and the hilltops, you end up being exactly where you want to be. And that's what it's all about. It's that consistency and that determination to reach your goals where you want to be in the future. And you envision and project yourself of where you are supposed to be in the future today to now. That way you start responding like your future self. So don't get discouraged when things are not going your way in your life, in your daily routine, because you're going to have hiccups. Everybody has their hiccups. What the difference between the person that's successful and the person that just barely gets by in life in all areas is the fact that they stay determined and consistent in their actions. They don't let those mix-ups, those delays to really affect their walk. So like right now, I could get discouraged and say, man, the life's just not going great. Kevin's not able to get on. My guest, what am I doing? Maybe I shouldn't be doing lives. That's how some people would think. But the way you want to be thinking is the person that says, no matter what it takes, I'm going to do this. We're going to figure out something. If Kevin can't get on here, then we're going to talk about something. You guys throw me some suggestions in the chat box. For y'all that aren't on the Facebook Bigger Vision page, viewing this live, it's also on my LinkedIn and it's on my YouTube. Those two platforms as well. It's streaming too. If you are on Facebook, but you're not plugged in to that Bigger Vision page, then please hop on. It's a free community to join. We've got over 900 members. We talk about mindset. We talk about business and investing. I've had some RV park owners on just last week. I had a guy that makes you a bestseller on Amazon with a book that you write, and then they polish it up for you. They take all the heavy lifting and the background work. You just give them the raw material. Before that, the week before, we were talking about retirement plans, IRAs, how to maximize your money so that you actually have something great to retire on. Let me see if Kevin... Say something, Kevin.
Hey, can you hear me?
Dang it, man. I'm still not getting you in the voice. I'm not sure what's going on here.
I'm on my phone now.
Check something in my background and settings. Make sure guest. Are you on the same computer we Zoomed on the other day? You there? Edit mic settings. Y'all throw me in the chat bar some of the obstacles that you've been dealing with this week. I know we've got a few viewers here at the moment. Kevin, you're froze. I don't know if you're still there or not. We see you, but you're froze. Man, I don't know how I got you in two different views.
I just tried to get on my phone here.
I still can't hear you, though. I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know.
Let me... Mike. Can you try it on your phone?
I'm on my phone.
You are on your phone?
Yeah.
Shoot. Let's try this. Call me back. Guys, we're going to figure it out. You are watching real life right here. We may just get them on video and let them talk through the phone. So let's do this. Turn your camera on. I'm going to put you on speaker on my phone and we'll do the interview that way. All right. No, you keep your video on the StreamYard, and since I can't hear your voice, I'll put you on speaker on my phone so that you can feed through my mic. I love it, y'all. I love it. Yeah, John said, hey, my boy, Kevin. All right, let me get your screen. Okay, good deal. All right, man, I got you on speaker. John, let me know if you can hear Kevin.
It's echoing, though, Chris.
It's echoing on your cut. Cut your volume off on your computer.
Yeah, I don't have my computer on.
I don't know how it's echoing. All right.
Let me try it one more time on the laptop.
Yeah, let's see if we can. So the audience doesn't hear an echo, but that's going to hurt you.
Let me try it on the laptop. Otherwise, we'll probably have to reschedule.
Okay, let's go for it.
All right.
All right, guys. We're going to try one more time on the laptop, see if we can get something going. So, John, and everybody else that's viewing at the moment, let me know what your obstacles been this week. I told you mine. I've had some delays on closing. I've had some tenant issues. My disaster cleanup side's been going pretty smooth, actually. We got a new ride in, so I was able to get a a new vehicle for my project manager to ride in. If y'all have not heard about the ERC credit, then please reach out to me. That is something that's exciting. I've actually gotten in some government checks because I applied for the ERC credit. This is a massive amount of money that's been set aside. It's the employee retention credit, and it's up to $26,000 per employee. And it was set up for the COVID part of the CARES Act, I believe, is what it was about. But you know what? I'm not the specialist on it. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. There's money available if you're a business owner and you had employees in 2020, 2021. And in the early days, you could not unlock those funds unless you fit in a very small portion of criteria. But as they saw that so many people, there was so much funds available still, and people just weren't accessing those funds, they began to build in new legislation so that more could get through the door and receive these funds. And the biggest thing that has changed is if you had an interruption in supply chain, this allows you to be able to get involved and probably access this money. I'm telling you, it's a substantial amount. There has been some large companies with many employees that have gotten millions of dollars, and the regulations on this money is not as heavy as well. So y'all send me a private message, and I will get you the information so that you guys can hopefully get involved with that. What about it, Kevin?
Can you hear me?
Man, I cannot hear you. I don't understand why it's not giving us your voice. I tell you what, guys, we'll probably have to reschedule this because if I Zoom it, then it's going to miss the link, the live link to the other platforms. But we'll try. You can hear them, John?
Can you hear me?
Well, I don't understand why I'm not hearing you. Let me check my end then.
Let me know if you can hear me.
Audio. Kevin, say something.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Well, we're going to rock and roll. I can hear you now. I just had to put some headphones on and change it over. I don't know what's happening.
Are you sure those headphones weren't plugged in?
No, I heard you while they were hanging when I changed it over. Y'all, what's funny is me and Kevin had a Zoom a couple of days ago and we had technical difficulty there, and it was on my end. So I don't, it is what it is, man. I don't know it all. That's why I need a great team around me. So, Kevin, no more delay. Let's get into your story. I appreciate you trying so many times to hop on here. I met you through really Facebook. We've never met each other in person, correct?
No.
Yeah. And so we just followed each other on Facebook. I really like what Kevin is about, what he has done with his business. So tell us, what's your background and what you currently do, and where you're at today.
Well, my main business is the Gutter Kings. We pretty simple, clean the gutters for apartment complexes, condo associations in 31 states. I started it 22 years ago, and I also own some apartment buildings, real estate, some other businesses that kind of go with the Gutter Kings. But Gutter Kings is my main thing. It's been my biggest success.
So what did that look like on your startup?
Well, I'll tell you what to get there real quick. I was an entrepreneur, really young, cutting grass. So I had a landscaping business while I was still in high school, and I built that. And I was doing that for about 8 or 10 years, and it was doing well, but I didn't like it at all. And one guy asked me to clean his gutters, and I went up there and did it while my guys we were doing a cleanup, and I saw how easy it was. And this is a long time ago. This is 25 years ago. I think I got $60, but I did it in about 10 minutes. So of course, the rest of the night I was just like, I need about 100 of these. So I really started like thinking that day forward, I'm going to just do houses. How can I do that? But I was in New Jersey, and it's very seasonal. So I started doing that. I picked up a lot of momentum. I probably had 1,000 houses after a couple years. I sold the landscaping business, and I had time to build it. And then I just really, one day I was driving down the highway, and I was like, wait a second, why am I doing houses? Look at these apartment complexes. This is bigger money. And I was sitting on a little bit of money. So I basically took 6 months of my life, and all I did was walk into 24 places a day. The reason I walked into 24 is because I was tracking the numbers. It took me 24, walk into 24 clubhouses to get one complex. So I was literally getting a complex a day. Now I might get 3 in one day and 0 for 4 days, right? But I was getting a lot of complexes. I think in that first year, I got about 80 of them. And I was sold on it from there.
So how legitimate were you at the point to where you started going to the apartment complexes on that commercial side? Because you're in residential. Residential tends to be a little more forgiving, but when you get on the commercial, they're like, hey, I need to see your insurance and make sure you're adequately insured. They like to see a little more professionalism. Were you at that level already?
Well, they do, but I wasn't green because I had already had a landscaping business for 8 or 10 years. But that was my first foray into commercial, and it was different. And I was kind of faking it till I make it.
Yeah.
They're like, you have an umbrella, you have 5 million. Yeah. Everything was yes. Yeah, I got it. How many other places do you do? I do Chestnut Park down the street. And like, I was just bullshitting basically.
Yeah.
But when the job came, I was on site and I made sure it was 100% perfect. But I was absolutely winging it. I really wasn't kind of a scared guy, so I just kind of went for stuff. And I had a lot. I probably should have been scared looking back. I had so many complexes and not enough workers, not enough capital. These places pay you in 90 days, but I made it work.
Man, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the 90-day wait on commercial contracts.
Yeah.
Tell me about one of those moments, because I've definitely had them myself, to where you're looking at the bank account and you're every muscle in your body's tense because you're wondering, man, am I going to make my bills next week? Am I going to make payroll this week? It really, that's a legit thing that happens, especially in smaller business owners.
It's very real, and you got to be, I guess you got to be built for it because, I'll tell you a quick story. So I was doing that in the early 2000s and doing some other things, flipping properties because I was just in New Jersey. I ended up losing a lot of money in 2008 and put myself in a bad position. So I had to kind of rebuild that with no cash and credit. And when I was doing it, I was operating on fumes. Like I would get down to, I'm not even kidding, $80 in my bank account, any bank account.
I get it, man.
Because I wanted to take that extra job. And I'd be like, well, if I take that job on, I got to bring three more guys. I got to rent another van. I got to get enough. And I would get down to fumes. I would just like lay it all out there and I would wait. And yeah, sometimes I'd go to the P.O. box and I'd be like, man, there better be some checks in there.
Look, man. So my real estate, and this is how we do it, guys, in the Bigger Vision show. I mean, we just air it out. We get real because this is reality about business. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. There's you go broke today to be rich tomorrow. And I'm in between closings right now. I had to reach out to a gap funder and pay a very hefty fee just so that I could bridge that gap for a couple of weeks in between, because I didn't want my wife freaking out on the bank account being on fumes compared to how I used to run it when I was unmarried and starting my own business out. But that's the reality of it. I mean, you've really got to have some grit and determination in what you're doing and confidence in yourself. So you're in how many states again on the gutter with the Gutter King? I'm
in 31 now. And I started in New Jersey, and then I went Pennsylvania and Connecticut. I hit all that East Coast, and then I'm in Atlanta now. I started going down south. I did that strategically because I was thinking, well, I could probably go down there and get another 20 complexes, extend the season, bring all the guys from New Jersey down. And we did. We'd go down there with like 3 packed vans and stay in hotels, go make a bunch of money. They loved it because it was snowing or cold up in New Jersey. And then I just started going into other states because it's just, there's such a demand for this service. And even then, when I started really accumulating money, I was still going to fumes. I always just go to, I mean, I have people on my team, they're like, stop taking on more.
Yeah.
Like enough is enough, you know? I remember I was dating a girl when I was in 14 states and I used to be up at 3 a.m. working. She's like, just chill. You're already making a lot of money. I'm like, no, I'm not going to chill. I want to go more. It's just what I do. So it's not really about the money. That's the byproduct. I just want to see if I can do it. So I'm going to do more states now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so talk to me about how you're capturing these more states. Are you physically driving down to these states and explain this marketing process?
I'll tell you the marketing process. Well, the reason I end up in a lot of different states is because you get these kind of like these apartment complexes where they have complexes in 7 different states. Mm-hmm. And they might have a total of 40, 50 complexes. And they say, you're in South Carolina. And then they say, hey, you're in Georgia, right? And I say, yeah, I'm in Georgia. And then they basically hand you another 10 or 11 nice jobs. So I go do them. But then when we're there, then I just start up in Georgia again. But I just it's because I'm just collecting so much data. I have virtual assistants collecting data, making calls, sending emails, always contacting these people. And the way we do it now is we use almost all subcontractors. I have employees who actually teach them on site how to do it better, exactly what we want, how to do it faster so they're more profitable. So once I get subcontractors in, say, Indianapolis, and then I get them outside of Chicago, then I have like 4 outside of Chicago. Well, I just want more jobs then because they're easy to do. They want the work and we just give them more jobs. So we kind of figured out that whole system. It was much harder when it was just employees, for sure.
So do you find yourself where you're, let's say you got this apartment complex in New Jersey, and then they say, hey, we've got one sitting over in Virginia as well. So you say, yeah, I can service that one. Then do you start to target those in that particular city in the state, or are you just trying to hit the whole state?
First, I start in that area, and then I branch out.
Okay.
But I when it was a smaller team, I would just start in that city. Like I would literally get that complex, and they would say, hey, can you put that on your list in the fall? It might be 6 weeks before. I would just start targeting all the complexes within 10 minutes because I want to go there. I don't want to go there for one day. I want to go there for 5 days, and I would go down there and do 12 of them because we do them really fast.
Right. So with you being mainly subcontractors now, is there not a scare that these guys are going to get in there and service it, and then they're going to start communicating with the manager, and then they're going to say, hey, we're local, we can undercut the price that you're paying when we cut this middleman out?
There's definitely going to be a few guys who do that, and I've had a couple, but it hasn't really been an issue for a couple of reasons. I have them signed a contract that would make it a nightmare for them if they did that. Mm-hmm. One guy found that out the hard way. The other reason is they don't want to wait 60, 90 days. They don't have the cash flow. So they might be in a situation where I was 20 years ago. They need to hit payroll. So one of the things I do is if they do a job on Monday, they're going to be paid on Wednesday. They're going to hit that payroll on Friday.
That's huge.
So, yeah. So if they're doing their own jobs, they don't know that, but they know, hey, I'm going to go do this job for him on Monday and Tuesday. He's paying me $1,500 on this one, $1,700 on this other one. I'm good for payroll. They don't want to mess that up. The smart ones I will reach out to all of them and I'll say, hey, what other main service do you do? A lot of them do like pressure washing and roofing. And then I will help them get jobs. They're looking. I say, anytime you're at a complex, you see that, take pictures, send them to me. We have a whole system. They send it into the team, then we'll reach out and we'll try to help get jobs for them. So it makes no sense for them to do it. I mean, some of these guys make six figures, $125,000 doing gutters for me. So are they going to try to go behind my back so they can get 4 clients and make 8 or 10 grand? It wouldn't make much sense.
How do you handle quality control when you're using subs in different states?
Well, we have systems in place. If they have certain parameters, like the guys with workers' comp, the guys with good reviews. So we do all these things before. Then they call in. We have a guy on our team who talks to them, goes through every single question. If he likes them, now their insurance is approved, he'll put them on the temporary approved. I still talk to every single one of them at the end. And I veto guys. I just vetoed somebody 2 days ago. And he was like, why? I was like, nah, I didn't like. He said some things I didn't like. We get somebody in there, then we'll go out and we'll have our trainers go out there, do an actual complex with them, work for them for a day. They'll show them so many tricks to do it faster, safer, better. And I'm just going to be really helpful in telling them different ways. We have videos and texts, emails on better ways to do it. Then we'll actually either have, if we have a local person or a boots on the ground or somebody, we'll have somebody go check on their work. Say I went into a new market, like not a new market, a market I'm already in, like Charlotte. I have two or three subs there. If I bring somebody on and there's a 20 building complex, I might only give them 5 buildings. Then I'll give the other guy 15 buildings. Then I'll pay him $100 to go check 2 of the other buildings for me. Yeah. He doesn't. He's like, okay. Takes him 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And he'll tell me, yeah, it's done. I don't even really tell him what he's looking at. I just tell him, take a video and pictures. Tell me if that's done. And it's pretty rare that people don't do it. It's very rare at this point. But if there's issues, and we'll find out really quickly. So we found out about an issue on somebody. He had like 3 issues on the last 10 jobs. We cut it. It's over.
Wow.
He already had a warning. We go in there, fix it with another sub, pay that guy full fee to do it. He'll fix it. I still turn a little bit of profit and we move on. But yeah, it might sound easy now, but this took me years to figure all this out. Years.
I want to go back. I want to go back on your training, man, where you was talking about you got videos and emails and whatnot, because that is one thing I notice in my service company is bringing on new employees and getting them trained up, that onboarding, that training. And some just really struggle with capturing the capacity of being able to just retain simple, basic stuff. And I've had other coaches tell me, hey, why don't you video yourself? Matter of fact, that is what we're in the process of doing over at Absolute, is videoing our processes. So is this something that you were doing while you were out in the field, or is this the idea you grabbed when you were more in an administrative role? I don't know if that's me that's froze or you, Kevin. Gotta love technology. Could be the operator, guys. It probably is me. All right. Kevin, hopefully you'll drop back on. So, yeah, Kevin froze. Let me shoot him a text. So to jump back on that ERC, we'll jump over real quick and make sure that you guys understood that there is a massive pool of money awaiting business owners that have employees and you were actively in business. I believe it was just 2020 and 2021 is really when you had to be active. It might have been 2019. But reach out to me. I'll give you the contact info so that you can get in touch with the folks that actually are highly educated in this. This is all they do, is they take these applications and they're pushing them through. And I'm a living example that says, I just got my checks in from the government the other day. And it feels real nice when you get some money that you're not going to have to pay back because you had a disruption in supply chain. So that is the door that opened up all of this free money to 99.9% of businesses. So it's pretty pretty awesome.
Lost
All
you
right,
there.
Kevin.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So, when did you start your video training and all of that?
About 6, 7 years ago. Even the videos, I have them, but the on-site training is the number one. If they work with them for a day, usually those guys do really well. So I'll actually pay subcontractors to come out for a day, because we don't want to use them. I don't want them to feel like they did work for nothing, because they're going to be actually working. So I'll make it really fair for them. And if they don't, if my guys think like, this guy's not going to be able to do this, Kevin, they'll send him home after a couple hours and still pay him. But they're doing the complex anyway. But when the guys work the whole day, they just pick up so much. They ask questions. And then I specifically have a couple people who really are good at training, answering questions. And I have trainers in both English and Spanish. So it really works well.
Man.
And, but that person wouldn't have gotten there if they didn't already have experience. So we've already checked that. They say, yeah, I've done hundreds of houses like this, and it's going to be the same or easier. But I specifically chose gutter cleaning after trying harder things. Like pressure washing, roof cleaning with sodium hypochlorite and the pumps. It was, you always had to get really one high level guy in there, and he'd be troubleshooting all the time.
Yep.
I like to make it that KISS, keep it simple, stupid, make it easy for guys. I want to make fries in McDonald's. We don't even make shakes or burgers or anything else. No specials, fries every day. That's it.
Yeah. What is Bruce Lee, I think it was, that said, I don't fear the guy that knows 1,000 kicks practice one time, but the guy that practices one kick 1,000 times. And I mean, that's really the philosophy. And I found that to be true as well. We started to where we would do any and everything. And then as we began to grow a team and I was coming out of the field, I really started seeing issues with quality because of understanding the fundamentals of all these different services we provided. And when I cut those services down and began to say, we're going to just do these 5 services, then I was able to I didn't have as much of an issue with quality control at that point. So I get it. I get it. The training just gets very intensive.
It really matters. And I like the simple stuff. And I remember this is about 10 years ago, and it struck in my mind. There was a building manager, and we did like 28 buildings in like a few hours. We had a bunch of guys there. And he said, you guys are like Navy SEALs coming in to take out bin Laden. Like, this is so zeroed in. And I remember that night I was thinking, it really is so, why am I doing all these other things? I need to do thousands of these jobs. That's where all the profit is. Because I might clear 2,000 on that complex in 3 hours. So I said, I got to get thousands of these jobs, not 80.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you focus on that, whatever you focus on, you'll figure out how to do it. So that's when I started thinking about going to different warmer states, and so on.
What is the logistical side of things with you being in other states? I'm assuming obviously that this is running through Gutter Kings, all of the contracts. So they're looking at your insurance. Do you have to be licensed in those other states to do business?
Every state's different. It's probably 70% you do. Some states don't care about gutter cleaning. You don't. I used to have 3 companies, and they were all very similar names to Gutter King, like with an NOR at the end, SAO and Midwest. And I was doing that to kind of protect liability. Now we're running it through 90% through one. And then, we load up on all the insurance, and then you have to have different workers' comp in different states. So there is a lot of things for that. But I learned that as I went, and I actually have an insurance background. When I lost that money in 2008, it was the first time I took a job in my life. I was an insurance agent. So I'm kind of like, there's not a lot of gutter guys walking around know a lot about insurance.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Insurance guys are like, how do you know all this? I'm like, I'm telling them about class codes and and all kinds of other things.
Man, you tell your insurance you're getting on ladders and you're going to see your premium jump up. So, well, talk to me about, we've had this conversation, and I know this it's definitely has played into your business to be able to be in so many states and to get past the thinking of, I'm going to do this myself, build my own team. And then you start partnering with these 1099, these subcontractors. Talk to me about the mindset. When did you start having a shift, or did you just always have this mindset of, I'm just going to blow out there and build this massive company, be nationwide? Like, where were you? How'd you start, and when was that shift, and what did it look and feel like?
That's a great question. No, I absolutely did not think that. My mindset growing up was $100,000 was like a lot of money to make that in a year. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so that actually was. And then throughout my 20s, I did the worst thing was you compare yourself to the people around you. And I was doing better than a lot of them because I started early and I bought a home early. And then you almost like, you just kind of look around and then you think, yeah, I'm doing well enough and everything. But I think what changed was when I started hiring a lot of guys for short periods of time. Maybe I'd have 20 guys and we'd have 5 vans and we'd just do it for 3 weeks and make a bunch of money. And I thought, I need to apply this to the internal team too. I need to get assistants. I need a sales guy. I need people who can really help me grow this. But the mindset thing really changed when probably actually later, like 2012, 2013, that was really from just listening and to different people, Jim Rohn and stuff like that. I always was reading, but I was reading like books on like flipping homes and a couple business books. But when I really like YouTube and I started really listening to those guys, I started to think like I can do this on a much bigger scale. And I think that was really it. The mindset when I really thought, I got a mentor in 2015. I think he was making $16 million a year. He told me he's not a bullshitter. He just straightforward guy. He was in his 60s. And I was just thinking 16 million a year. And I remember he said to me, you should be making 3 million a year doing this net, 3 million.
Wow.
And I was making what I thought was a lot of money. Maybe I was making like $500,000 or 600,000. So he said, 1 million would be, you're not even trying. Like the way he would say it, I don't know. It almost made me like, what the hell is this guy telling me 1 million? He's not talking about grossing $1 million. Netting $1 million. He just, after hanging out with him and watching him, I was thinking, yeah, I could do this. It really was like the borrowed belief, even though he had nothing to do with that business. He just had sound advice and he just made me start thinking it. And then I think we said, when I started getting around other people who didn't think $1 million is a lot, or even to be a multimillionaire, they just don't think much of it. It really, like that borrowed belief, somebody like Tim Bratz, he owns 4,000 apartment units. Right. And you hang out with him. We were saying like, he's a very smart guy, but you're like, I mean, come on, 4,000. If he owns 4,000, I can own 1,000. I tell that to guys who talk to me. They're like, man, you're in 31 states. I said, if I could do it, you can't get in 10?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if I could do this, you can't go make $500,000 doing it. They're like, I don't believe you can't for a second. It's just, you create this barrier that like 250,000 that's the most I can make. That's really what I thought like 12 years ago. 250s. That's enough. That's the most. And so, I would have to kill myself to do it. I don't know where I got that feeling.
So how do you get when let's say that you got that limiting belief, and then you start hearing this guy that's making 16 million and he's like, dude, you should be making 3 million. And I'm not even trying if you're hitting 1 million net. Yeah. And you start hearing that and it kind of spurs you on to say, what am I doing? What am I thinking? But just the thought, think and grow rich, it doesn't happen without the action. So I think maybe some people sit there and get stumped in their action, and because they don't know what action to take. how do you kiss it? How do you keep it super simple, so that stupid simple, so that what is those first initial actions when you start to think,
right,
I can do more than this?
Get around people. So think of something that you'd want to make a year, if it's about money, or if whatever you want your business to look at. So let's just say it's $1 million a year. You want to make $1 million a year. Get around people that if they made $1 million a year, they'd be banging their head against the wall in disgust. They'd be so pissed. Yeah. Like that guy who makes 16 million, he would be pissed if he made $1 million, right? Because he went backwards. If you get around people like that, I just think you'll grow much faster. Plus, the people they became to make that much money, they've already gone through everything you've gone through and then some. And they're going to be such a valuable asset. That's what people forget. The person you become to reach those goals, to make $1 million a year, or to build a business, to own 4,000 units, you have to go through so much that's really what you're after. The money is the byproduct. So how do you get in those groups? You can get in masterminds like we have, right? Everybody in that group is trying to do big things.
Right.
And you have to bring value to groups, be really valuable, do your best. Don't expect anything in return, just give. So like I got that guy off a program anybody can get. It's called SCORE. It's an acronym, SCORE. You can go on Google. I got on there with him. I met him, and he was building like a monster home, and he was the actual builder on it for himself. And he was kind of doing it as a hobby. He learned to build homes. He had sold all his franchises and everything. And I have a background because of just from flipping homes, and I know blue collar stuff. So I told him, hey, if you ever need me to go out there, help you with subs, anything like that, I'll do it. Just call me and I'll make it happen. Because I lived like 5 minutes from the house he was building, and he lived 20 minutes. So he said, no, don't worry about that. He asked me like 3 weeks ago, hey, can you run over there? I got this issue. I went over there, took care of it. And I was there for 2 hours talking to guys and helping them out. And then he really appreciated it, you know?
Yeah.
So he says, yeah, I don't want to like have you running around for me. I said, hey, Anthony, don't worry about it. You need something, I'll help you out. So he started to look at me like I can help him too. And then I would start talking to him about his business, and he would come up with things, and I would kind of give him my insight on it. And we became more like peers than anything. But he was at such a high, he had already gone through all these barriers that I was still going through, that he helped me go through them without even really knowing it. And the barriers I went through is I had a mindset of scarcity my whole life. Really, this is sound crazy, up until about 4 or 5 years ago.
What does that mean?
Like
scarcity.
I'll tell you where it comes. Like I thought there wasn't enough to go around. And I kind of believed if one person's successful, maybe someone else isn't. And I got it a little, my parents were awesome parents, but they both grew up kind of poor Irish immigrants. We were like upper middle class, but we acted like we didn't have money. I don't know what that was about, but they grew up in a lot of scarcity. They passed that on to our siblings. My 2 siblings still do it. So it's like you always kind of have this fear you're going to lose your money, or you're not going to have enough, and don't buy a really expensive house, that type of thing. And now I believe all these people we meet in these groups, everybody can own thousands of units. Everybody can have $100 million if they want. Everybody can have the life they want. It's limitless, and we can all help each other. I can't explain it, but I just thought it kind of was a competition, and now I have a totally different attitude on it. And that's been a huge part of just everything that's gone well for me. You know, the income going up so much, I work a lot less than I used to. I used to work 90, 100 hours a week. Now I work more like 40 or 50. I love it. So
yeah, that's
and if I call this work, you know, like it's 60 hours. I'm just always doing something I like.
Right. I just think it's extremely impressive that you started mowing lawn. And let me ask you this: when you started your lawn business, did you know that you were going to do something awesome in life? Did you know that you were going to be more than what your parents were financially and vocationally as far as with their job? Like, was there a sense of greatness that you were going to do something awesome?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll tell you what, when I started, I really started young, like 13, 14. So I don't even know why I started. I just knew that it was better than my sister was 5 years older than me. She worked at a video store and she made like $2.85 an hour. And I was thinking, I'm cutting lawns for 25. Like, what is she doing? Yeah. And she had to get a ride from my parents to the video store. I remember asking my dad, why does she do that? Yeah. Why doesn't she just go cut lawns? And then he said, well, you have to ask her. I don't know. But I was just thinking she's crazy. And so were other people. So I just thought that was a better way. But the time I was 17 or 18, I did think I would have a big business. But I actually had a lot of pushback. I didn't go to college. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My parents were big on education. That was the way that they became successful. And I just pushed back on that all the time. So I got pushback on being an entrepreneur. You know, back then it wasn't looked upon very highly. It kind of looked like, oh my God, is this guy going to cut lawns? You know, like go be an accountant or anything. But I liked being outside and I liked doing my own thing. But the value of the things I learned there, you know, you're 17, 18 years old and you're in school and you're trying to get lawns done. It's raining and you're trying to do it. And adults are screaming at you on the phone. I'm having a party. You need to get this done. You learn a lot of stuff about yourself and that other 17-year-olds don't have to deal with. So by the time I was 19 or 20, I felt like I knew a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't know when I really thought it could be anything I wanted, really 10 years ago, where now I feel like it could be anything. I could have franchises everywhere. It could be hundreds of millions of dollars. I absolutely believe it can be.
So what does your back end side look like to be able to run in so many states? I know you got the subcontractors that are there locally. So how are you logistically handling this with your team on the back end?
Well, you know, being in different states doesn't, except for like sales tax and some of the little paperwork, which is pretty minimal. It's just to get going. It really doesn't have any change on the thing. Like if I could take all the work and put it in 2 states, there would just probably wouldn't be enough jobs to do that, but it would be the same thing. So, I mean, we run it off a CRM. I'm not a complicated guy with systems and everything. I ran stuff off Google Sheets for a long time. I like Google Sheets. I like numbers. We pretty much have everything on email. I like everything in writing. I don't like a lot of phone calls going back and forth and updating notes. I want everything on email. People like to be emailed. People don't want to be called about gutters anyway, you know? Mm-hmm. And then the subcontractors too. If I don't want everybody texting me, calling my team, but we have like a subcontractor hotline. Any one of them can call them if they need issues or there's problems. I have somebody who's dedicated to that. We have, you know, I have a small team. It's not really that big. They onboard them. They pull their insurance. They schedule their jobs. They figure out their rates. I'm kind of out of all of that now, but I did all those things at one time. I created all those jobs. I did them. I figured out how to delegate them. And in some cases, a lot of cases, people do them better than I do. It's just the truth.
So do you have a office building where these folks come in from 8 to 5?
Everybody is virtual. I have only in this, minus some on-site employees, because of course they're all in the U.S. I only have 3 people in the United States. I have a personal assistant, a sales guy, and then a kind of a do everything person. She's excellent. She runs the CRM. She does customer service. She does so much stuff. The rest of them are virtual assistants in the Philippines. And I have one main virtual assistant that started with me in 2016. She is an absolute superstar, rock star, has a master's. She's awesome. She's in on profit sharing, everything. She's built like 6 homes in the Philippines now. She's living a great life. And she gets up. She told me she goes to sleep and wakes up thinking about gutters. Like, she's all in. And she has 3 sisters who work for her. And there's more people in the Philippines that aren't necessarily connected to her. I have one more person too who does data here in Orlando, and he also oversees some of the virtual assistants. He handles all the data now. He's actually my best friend. I brought him on.
Where did you go to find your virtual assistants?
Upwork. Yeah, I just want to, I don't know why. I got my mom's on thing. I have a bookkeeper. I have some other people in the States. So I messed up a little at, but they're just not really employees. They're just outsourced.
Right.
But I went to Upwork, upwork.com. What I do is I go in there. I say you want a virtual assistant. I go on a Google Doc. I write down exactly what I want this person to do. I'm trying to find somebody with experience because I don't want to teach them to learn on my dollar necessarily. Now they're going to have to learn the gutter business, but like that woman, Grace, had already been a virtual assistant for 2 other companies, and she brought a lot of stuff. She knew stuff. She was like, hey, well, we could do this, or how about we use this? And I would just kind of like, once I trusted her, I just kind of let her run with it. And then as we were just overwhelmed, she was like, my sister is working on Upwork, and if she can work with you full time, I can train her. She lives, 5 minutes from me. She can come over every day. So they actually work together now, like 4 of them. So it's like, it's in her house though.
What did your interview process look like to know that she had the goods like she did?
Well, one of the ways I do on Upwork is I look at reviews, and I sort them by 90% positive or above. But here's a trick. You have to have, it can't just be like a 5-star review. I need the person to have written a couple paragraphs about that person. The reason why is when these people do a job for you that's so simple, $100, they'll stalk you for 5-star reviews because they're trying to feed their family. Sure. So I know a lot of people like myself have just given people 5-star reviews, and maybe they are or not, and they don't write anything because they don't really. But if somebody like Grace, I say I sold my company, I would write Grace like 8 paragraphs about how great she was. So when I see people, when I found Grace, she had paragraphs written about her. She's awesome. We just didn't have enough work. We sold the company, and I was like, she looks good. And that's how I found some other, the people who are actually in the States, I found them on Upwork too. I hired them as consultants and then brought them on as employees. So I look at reviews, written reviews. Then I do a Zoom call with them, and I feel them out and ask them a bunch of questions just like you would in person. For our social media thing, for the Blue Collar Millionaire, I interviewed somebody yesterday, and the interview didn't go well. I didn't think he could handle it.
So what kind of questions, because this is a real thing that happens with entrepreneurs, is the hiring process. I mean, if we took a poll, I believe that would by far be the biggest concern and struggle of most business owners is interviewing, hiring quality individuals that are coming in at a top performing level and really taking the reins and running the way that the employer was wanting them to run with.
Well, I'll tell you what I do is I've been doing this my whole life. I hire fast and I fire fast. So like when I had gutter guys on site, I literally hire them for a day. So I talk to them on the phone. I ask them questions that only somebody who's on ladders and roofs going to know. And they answer them. And then I say, hey, come out tomorrow. You can work with my crew. I'll pay you this. I'll pay you cash day one. If you like it and the team likes it, let's move forward. So I have an out at the end of the day. A lot of times they don't want to do it because they go out there and like, oh, this is hard, and I always do that. So I do the same thing with virtual assistants. I might start them on a really easy project. I'll say, hey, do this project for me. It's really easy. And if they knock it out the park, I give them another one, and then I give them a little harder. And now they got 3, they've done 3 successful things for me over 2 weeks. I'll say, hey, do you want to come on full time? and you can do these 3 or 4 things. Do you think you can do it? And then I'll still say, hey, let's try it out for 2 weeks. And at the end of that, let's talk. And if you like it and I like it, we'll move forward. I always have that out because it makes it super easy to get out of it. Because a lot of times people don't want to be in it. They don't have the right mindset. They're just doing it for money. They don't really know what they're doing. They don't want to learn. They don't want to listen. So I hire fast, but I fire fast.
What do you think is the biggest reason why so many people stay in that portion of, like you were going to the clubhouse, cleaning the gutters out so that you could get some business, coming home, doing the accounting, making the phone calls, the invoicing, paying the bills,
doing everything.
Doing everything.
Every single successful entrepreneur I know did that too long. Yep. I did it too long. Mark Evans did it too long. You probably did too long. Everybody does it too long. I think that it's like our baby and we don't want anybody to mess it up. If I look back 20 years ago, I used to come on site. I'd be on site and I'd be all over people, not yelling at them, but like, come on, man, you can't leave that like that. Like I'd be all over people because you have to you have to get comfortable with people aren't going to do it as passionately as you. It's not their business. It's a job. So then you have to really create systems and methods to minimize the problems, make it easy for them. And then you just have to be okay with the growth. There's going to be some problems. And if you ever start thinking, oh, I'm going to fire everybody, I'll just do it myself. Because every entrepreneur thinks that sometimes. I mean, but what's the alternative? Then you go back and now you got all this work. I still want to let go of people. Sometimes I'm like, oh, forget it. I'll just do it myself. And then I think before I do that, I say, wait, did I just create 3 or 4 hours of work for myself? Because I got stuff to do.
Right.
It's you have to be okay with letting other people do it and make mistakes. But if the person has integrity and they want to get better and want to get learned, I found that they will and it will work. Sometimes I used to hire because I thought they had certain skill sets, but if they had the wrong attitude, it never works. So I really hire on attitude. And that's why that guy's attitude today I didn't like it. It wasn't bad. I was just thinking he doesn't really want to do this. He's just like trying to pay bills.
Yeah.
And I thought that's not really going to work. I want somebody who, so everybody on my team, I text them. I said, how do you like working for Gutter King? And they'll say like, I love it, and they'll write these things and I want them to be happy and give them opportunity to grow.
What's your communication level look like on a consistent basis with your subcontractors and your other? I know your other portions of your team's probably at least weekly, but like
the portions on my team, the head one in the Philippines is daily, every night. I'm usually texting her on WhatsApp and she's just kind of giving me overviews and asking me questions. The main one here in the States every day, text and everything. She's great. Other than that, it's about once a week touch. But the subcontractors, I'm essentially out of it now, which before it was too much. I was talking, they would, if you pick up the phone and they text you, they're going to keep doing it. So
sure. So you have somebody doing that now?
Yeah. Huh?
Do you have somebody that?
Yeah, I have somebody who does it. That's their job, is to make sure that they're 100% on them. Because I want the experience. I almost look at subcontractors almost like their clients. I want their experience to be great with me too.
That's awesome.
So they say, wow, this guy pays fast. He takes care of problems. He's got my back. If I say, hey, I can't do this because of these people's fences locked in, he goes to bat for me. He helps me. So yeah, I want to make the experience good for them too. And I did that for a long time, but it's too many of them.
So what does your daily task look like now for Gutter Kings?
I don't really even start on Gutter King till about 11 in the morning. I do some other stuff in the morning. I do about 2 hours. I do this tomato timer, Pomodoro. I do 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off 5 minutes. I can look at texts and everything. I do 4 of them in a row. That's
What do you call it?
It's Pomodoro tomato timer. It's 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. You can't do anything but the one task for the 25 minutes. No looking at texts, emails, anything. I do 4 of those. That's 2 hours. I'm basically done at that point. Then I go back at later in the day. Then I'll start working on fun projects like ideas of growth, sales, checking on whatever I want to. I'm all about the vision and growing it bigger. I don't want to do daily stuff. And then at nighttime, I talk to some virtual assistants and stuff like that. And I have one that does pricing, and he'll ask me questions. But it's enjoyable to me. But I really don't like even the emails. We get hundreds of emails a day. But I used to read every single email and reply to them at one point. That's exhausting. Now they only they put Kev reply in, and it's a blue label on the ones that I have to. And I'd say there's 4 or 5 a day now.
You got a VA that's checking your emails?
I have two people answer emails all day. One of them's the customer service, so she's really good at it. And then Grace works the night shift because it's the day over in the Philippines. She then checks all the emails and processes everything about the emails during the night. So I really am totally out of it.
Are you actually selling, or are you just brainstorming on new kind of like visionary type?
Brainstorming and visionary. So even the selling, I figure out ways to do everything kind of virtually. So the selling, like with condominium associations, I used to talk to boards on the phone. I used to go into meetings. I figured out, how do I give them a packet that when they're looking at, because boards for condo associations meet 1 time a month for about an hour, and they have like 4 things on the agenda. I know gutter cleaning is not important to them. They want to make an answer. So I make a package to them. It's got the price. It's got info about us with pictures and everything. It's got a why choose the Gutter Kings. And then it has what they can expect if they choose us. And then I have 100 references of associations. So if I'm another gutter cleaning guy who puts in a 2-page proposal, you're dead in the water.
Right.
That's how I make it. So I want to make it so I answer all their questions. And I figured that out because I used to go into those meetings and they asked the same 6 questions all the time. I put it in the packet.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen.
People love it. People always say your proposals are like, they're really good. Like I get my proposals approved.
I love that, man. That I had, so I'm in a networking group called BNI, and one of the leaders over that made the comment one time, when you are asking people for work or certain individuals to help give you new work, you need to be telling us what to look for. And how you tell us what to look for is by listening to the customers and what their lingo is, what they say. And if you can capture what they're asking, then you're able to give those answers to your referral partners in this networking group. And I love the fact you just paid attention. It's just being observant.
This next thing might be really valuable for people. And I've been kind of doing it instinctively my whole life. You know, people say, oh, he was a salesman when he was 14. I kind of was, but one thing I do is people make a mistake. They make it about themselves. Oh, we've been in business since 1908 and all this. Nobody cares. People care about themselves. Yep. And what pain point are you solving for them? I only think in the lens of them. So I make my proposals, my emails, my templates. I have like 50 different templates that I wrote up, and everything is through the eyes of that person. How do I solve their problems? And then what questions are they going to reply with? Can I answer them before they even ask? I mean, that's been super powerful because otherwise you go back and forth. I want everything in there. So even if we have to change the schedule, I have a whole templates ready to go for it. So I don't have to go back and forth with them. We tell them why we can't do it. Here's the weather. This is when we can do it. Here's the thing. I don't really ask them. I just kind of tell them. They don't want to go back and forth with the gutter cleaner. They just want to know the solution. So I'm all about what do they want to hear and then give it to them. and give them about another 20% of value. Give them a little extra.
I think that's so smart. I mean, because we all have busy lives. And when you walk into these businesses, these upper management, the ones that are making these decisions, they want to know precisely, can they trust you? Are you going to do a good job? And can they afford it? And you answer those questions, you're probably going to get the job. But if they have to sit there and pull that information out of you, and you're, like you said, running around saying, we've been in business this long, it's almost like you're having to build yourself up too much.
Yeah.
And it
They'll
puts
figure it out.
distrust.
Right. I just feel like with the presentation, the proposal, and everything, that people just want, it's just that their perception. If they feel like the Gutter Kings, he's in 36, I mean, he gave us 100 references, not 100 references where it's your ex-girlfriend and your mom. Like, these are real associations. They know what these managers, it's super powerful. That's what they want. They want to know that manager that this job's going to get done. So I take all the questions they would have. And I even say, the residents don't need to do anything. We're going to treat their property like it's our own. We have these systems. I'll write, if they want to read all that, I mean, they're going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm competing against guys who aren't doing that. They're just not. Because that guy is getting off a truck and he's tired and he put his kids to bed and he's having a beer and he's like, oh my God, I got to get this proposal done. He's just trying to knock it out.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're running on time here. So I want to make sure our viewers and you, because another thing I love about successful business people is they're willing to pivot. And, Kevin, he's over in the Eastern time zone. I'm in Central time zone. We got a little mixed up. And he calls me like, hey, we're supposed to be on. And I was like, no, it's another hour. And he said, okay, let me flip some things around. I'll make it. And that is what I love. And when you find somebody with that willpower to figure it out and make it, you better hang on to them and you better keep them in your circle, because there's somebody that's going to keep running far and they'll help motivate you and push you. So there's probably some folks that are sitting here thinking, man, I really would like to know more. And you briefly mentioned it on the Blue Collar Millionaire Mastermind, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is that?
It's an idea I had for a while, and it's not necessarily just for blue collar guy, but it's really service businesses and everything. And I just think that group of people, because I have so many subcontractors and I started helping them. I started doing Zooms for fun during COVID, and I started helping these guys build their businesses, because on the side, they might have a roofing business or a pressure washing, and one guy had a concrete. And I got incredible feedback. People were like, man, that idea works. Like, I already knew it worked because I did it for 20 years and they didn't know about it. But I would get really into it. And I'd say, like, no, let me break this down for you. Call me. I'm going to give you 20 minutes of gold here. And I'd give it to them. And these guys were motivated, so they would go out and make money. So I started thinking, like, I would love to have a group where if I was them 20 years ago, I would love to be able to have access and talk to somebody like me who has thousands of associations. He can tell you how to do a proposal. He can tell you how to talk to them, how to get in contact with them. The issues with growth, with capital, we were saying we were on fumes. I figured out all those things. Yeah. How to make employees want to stay. I have my best infield employee since 2004. He's with me. He's awesome. I know the reasons now why he stayed, Yeah. You like all these little like ninja tricks that I beat myself up about and took a lot of time and lost money on it. I figured out. I'm still got so many more to go. Sure. But I want to help guys do that. I don't care the age. Everybody can use these things. They're actually actionable things. So I want to have this group, the Blue Collar Millionaire, and make these service businesses, these blue collar guys, millionaires, and give them back the freedom of their time so they can spend it with their family and they can build businesses that give them the lifestyle they want and not just give them a job that they're up all night and they're stressed out all the time. Because it's really not that complicated.
So how does people reach out and get a hold of you?
Right now they can go on my Facebook. It's Kevin Marron, Marron. I think there's only 3 of us on Facebook. You'll see me, bald guy like this. I think they could just DM me and I'll take them from there. We're gonna have we have a blue collar millionaire Facebook page. But if they DM me or message me anything, I'll send them a link like that. They can get going on it, and I'm going to be giving Chris, of course, is involved in that with me. We're going to be doing videos, giving out content, giving out tips and all kinds of nuggets and different ways to get customers and finagle yourself and win in different situations. We're going to be giving that all the time, daily. So guys can go over there. And I'll give you that. We'll get that link up there so people can go on there. But it's for any business. I think business is universal. It doesn't matter if you do gutters or you do insurance. I did both. It was the same thing. It was the same thing.
Fundamentals are the same thing. The issues are the same. Yeah, it's just a different product, different service being sold. I agree 100%. Are you on anything other than Facebook?
I'm on Instagram. I got an Instagram, Gutter Sub, GUTTERSUB. That's where a lot of subcontractors message me, and I have some videos and content on there. But basically, Facebook and that Gutter Sub.
Okay, so go to the Gutter Sub if they're interested in trying to do some business with you.
Yeah, it's just Gutter Sub. No Gutter Sub, whatever the Instagram was. That's the hashtag.
Gotcha. Dude, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you listeners tuning in and getting past my operator technical.
Sorry about that.
I think it might have been me the entire time. So
yeah, but you said it perfectly. That's just everyday life business. I've been doing it for 30 years. It's all the same.
Yeah, man. That's one thing I noticed. You can tell when people are seasoned because you don't get the big eyes and the panic look. Like deer in the headlights. I mean, they're just kind of like, okay, we'll get through this. But
exactly.
Man, I appreciate your time. Thank you
all right,
for
Chris, awesome.
You've dropped. You have a wonderful evening.
All right. Talk to you later.